hardened with contempt. "This business with Lady Maria must stop." Ah, Lady Maria Shand. Davenport fingered his chin. Her duality had intrigued him. In a ballroom she was a prim, proper miss. Get her alone in the moonlight, and she lost no time shoving her delicate little hands down one's trousers. But then females, particularly females of his class, were so hidebound by ridiculous rules and restrictions, forced to deny perfectly natural biological urges and desires. The scientist in him cried out against this repression of instinctual behavior. It was his duty to liberate as many of them as possible. However, before he'd accepted the blatant invitation to satisfy both their natural urges between the lady's elegant thighs, he'd made a shocking discovery. While he had the laudable objective of freeing Lady Maria from the chains of propriety, Lady Maria aimed to shackle him into holy matrimony. It wasn't the fear of scandal that stopped him, but the sudden insight that Lady Maria's enthusiastic kisses bore the sour tang of deceit. His cousin's warning was thus belated and unnecessary. He'd kissed Lady Maria farewell the previous evening without rancor or regret, on his part at least. It was an entanglement that could prove uncomfortable on more than one level. Lady Maria's father, Lord Yarmouth, had been something of a mentor to Davenport at one time. "As you said, Lydgate, lecturing will not do the job." Deliberately, Steen placed a hand on each armrest of Davenport's chair and leaned in, his expression full of menace. "Ruralize," he said. "Leave London and do not come back." "What, not ever?" said Davenport, trying to be amused. What could Steen do to him, after all? "I don't think so." He downed the brandy he'd left untouched on the table by his elbow. The hit of alcohol seemed to sober him rather than the reverse. What was he doing, sitting here in Steen's library, submitting to a lecture? He wasn't a schoolboy anymore. Ruralize. The devil. He might as well hang himself from the nearest tree. In the country, he'd have too much time to reflect on the wasteland his life had become. If he kept himself moving, busy, occupied, he might outrun that demon, at least for a while. He needed London, the busy stench of it, the roistering, the wenching, the endless, pointless amusements afforded to a gentleman of wealth and status. He'd hoped his behavior would convince the doubters he had nothing more to offer the world of science he'd left behind. Yet, after all he'd done to throw dust in their eyes, someone still watched him. Another reason to stay in London. Better to be shadowed in a busy metropolis where he might evade pursuit, without appearing conscious of the mysterious figure who dogged his footsteps. In the country, there was little prospect of that. He didn't know why he hadn't put a stop to the business. One more product of the general malaise he'd felt since returning to his old life, he supposed. Davenport got to his feet, but the effort seemed to cost him. All those sleepless, reckless nights. Tiredness swept over him, a dragging sense of fatigue. Beckenham had predicted it would all catch up with him one day, and suddenly he feared he was right. He swayed, stretched out a hand, heard the brandy glass topple and fall to the carpet with a soft thud. His vision slid and slipped. He narrowed his eyes, trying to bring Xavier's face into focus. Through a woolly haze, he heard Lydgate exclaim, "Drugged? Was that really necessary?" "I think so," came Xavier's cool reply. His hands gripped beneath Davenport's arms and lowered him back into the chair. But Davenport didn't stop when his back hit the cushion. He was falling, and try as he might, he couldn't grab hold of anything. Couldn't do a damned thing to save himself. The darkness rushed up to swamp him. 2 weeks earlier.
Dismissed?